Styling Sensations presents a short journey into Black history. Black hair has a complex history that includes slavery, self-hatred, tears, rebellion, and self-love. Let us take a journey of its history, starting in Africa, ending with the billion-dollar industry that it now is. Hair was a distinctive feature for Africans. Not only was it beautiful, it also served as a part of someone's identity. People could tell which tribe one came from, social rank, religion, class, and more, all from someone's hair. Hair was managed and preserved with the help of herbal hair remedies created from plants easily found in their environment. Hair maintenance was a time-consuming process aimed at creating a sense of beauty and honoring its spiritual power. A woman with long, thick hair represented prosperity. Black hair was considered divine due to its position at the top of the head, and allowing someone to touch it meant you could trust them. Africans were proud of their natural hair. When brought to the U.S., their hair was called wool, kinky, and nappy, and seen as undesirable. It was shaved off by captors before putting them on slave ships. Scarves were worn to please slave owners to protect themselves from the sun, dirt, and scalp problems. Because Africans no longer had access to their natural herbs and butters and oils, they resorted to using bacon grease, butter, and kerosene as cleaners and moisturizers. Braid patterns became symbols for freedom, and different styles and patterns were used as guides, resembling roads and paths to travel or avoid, and what was once considered sacred to them was now a burden. Once slavery was abolished in 1865, blacks were free to wear their hair any way they wanted. But because it wasn't acceptable to white Americans, blacks went through great lengths to straighten their hair, putting themselves in harm's way as they dipped hair into chemicals that practically burned the scalp and used tools to pull and tug the hair straight, continuously damaging the hair, trying to achieve a European look. Black myths that exist is that natural hair is dirty and that it doesn't grow. But this statement is the furthest from the truth. Madam C.J. Walker created hair products specifically for black hair, opened stores nationwide with black women as her sales agents, and became one of the few self-made black millionaires. She also popularized hot combs in the early 1900s to straighten the hair. By 1917, chemical relaxers were invented to permanently straighten the hair, which was marketed to and used by black people to make the hair more acceptable in America. Wigs were also popular in the 1950s and 60s, but also in the 1960s, the afro was worn as a sign of pride for one's culture and own natural hair, also becoming a political symbol of black activist politicians in the 1970s. The 1970s and 80s saw pressing curls as well. The Jerry curls were popular during the 1980s and early 1990s in the African American black communities. Basically, another chemical treatment to attempt to make black hair more beautiful and manageable. Relaxers were extremely popular again in the 1990s. Styles consisted of finger waves, short pixie cuts, swoop bangs, mushroom cuts, box braids, micro braids, and weaves. As for the 2000s, silk press, quick weaves, feeder braids, sew-in extensions, lace wigs all became popular. And today, you still see a lot of all these different choices being used amongst black people. In 2019, the Crown Act was created to ensure protection against discrimination based on race-based hairstyles. Black people have been targeted by the hair care industry for decades. Hair care is the top category for black consumers and has approximately 2.29 billion in annual sales. However, despite all of this, many black Americans are returning to their natural hair after years of weaves and artificial hair care products. The hair care techniques that were initially practiced by their ancestors were forgotten, but now are being sought after. Thus, the natural hair movement, which actually started in the 1960s, but somehow got lost in the shuffle of back and forth. But 2010 seems to have been the year of the return of the natural hair movement. But this time it's different because black people are no longer hiding afro hair crowns, and digital platforms has provided a place of support and encouragement, and more people are embracing their natural hair. The power behind black natural hairstyles like braids, afros, locks, two-strand twists, waves, buzz cuts, or the big chop is that our hair represents messages from our ancestors, and the way our hair grows out of our head is simply beautiful. Our hair has versatility, history. It represents rebirth, renewal, personality, style, self-love, and freedom. It grows up and out towards the sun in curls, kinks, and coils, and can be styled just like shapes and geometry you find in the universe. Black hair is like a tree growing from powerful roots, sprouting out, reaching for the sun, because black hair is amazing.